any of those programs, when you're breaking in a new quarterback, it could go sideways. It doesn't always work out. You can have a huge 5-star recruit come in and it doesn't always pan out. We know what LSU has at quarterback. They will have a good offense. We know that for certain.
We're back covering every single major conference, talking about some of the best bets to make in the futures market with our college football betting expert over at Sharp Football Analysis, Ryan McCrystal. Today, we're going to be talking about the SEC and some great bets that you could be making right now on this outstanding conference. It's going to be a lot of fun once the ball gets kicked off and we can watch these teams go head to head. I love watching SEC football, as do most of you. This is going to be a fun preview video with Ryan. Before we get into that, I do want to mention, if you use the coupon code SHARP50, you'll save 50% off my 2025 football preview book. Ryan contributed a lot of content for this book, helping preview some of the rookie classes that each team is getting. In this book, I'll pick it up right here, 586 pages full of detailed information and analysis to get you ready for the 2025 football season. You're not going to find a better book to utilize to get ready for the season than this right here. And you can get it 50% off over at sharpfootballanalysis.com if you use code SHARP50. All right, let's dig in here to the SEC and welcome in Ryan McCrystal to talk a little bit about this outstanding conference. And the first thing that you're going to do, Ryan, is you're going to squish one of the team's hopes that's down at the bottom of the list anyways. People are down on Kentucky, and you're down even more on Kentucky. Their win total right now is only 4.5 wins. You can get that minus 101 if you have access to Pinnacle. You can get minus 106 if you have access to FanDuel. We are betting the under Kentucky at 4.5 wins. Why do you think that this team is going to win 4 or fewer games in 2025?
Yeah, Warren, as you know, I usually like leaning into a lot of advanced stats for my analysis, but this really just comes down to vibes. I'm not buying the vibes around Kentucky football. 2 off seasons ago, Mark Stoops, their head coach, tried to go to Texas A&M. He was hired. It was a done deal. He was ready to leave. They were ready to hire him, and then the Texas A&M board vetoed the deal. Everybody found out about it. Everybody knew it was about to happen, knew how it all played out, and then Stoops has to go back to Kentucky, and Kentucky fans were pissed off about it. And it's from the outside, not being a Kentucky fan, it's pretty easy to look at that and think that's pretty silly. Stoops is a legendary coach in Kentucky, has risen the program to heights that they've never seen before. They are a bottom feeder in the SEC for, throughout history, with the exception of basically Stoops' tenure, where he's really made them a consistent bowl team over the years. But they were mad that he left, and then they went 4-8 last year. So fans are really angry now. And it's hard to look at the roster and see it turning around quickly. And I think also you kind of have to wonder, what is Stoops' mindset now at this point in his career? He knows the significant portion of the fan base is mad at him still, despite what he had previously accomplished. He also knows that he wanted to go to Texas A&M. He has accomplished everything he could possibly accomplish at Kentucky. You can't raise this program any higher, especially in the transfer portal era where they don't have the money. They're not going to compete with the upper level teams in the SEC in terms of paying out for transfers. You probably can't ever even get back to what Stoops had Kentucky at a few years ago, where they're a perennial bowl team, often winning 8 games. He probably can't replicate that again. So does he even really want to be here long term? It's just a lot of bad vibes all the way around, from the, certainly around the fan base, potentially even in the locker room, with Stoops not really knowing what his future is or whether he wants to be there long term. I think it's just created a messy situation for them. Now, they did add some portal guys this year. They had to go out and put together a roster because some guys left, including their top 2 weapons. Dane Key, big-time wide receiver, went to Nebraska. Barry and Brown went to LSU. They did have some talent last year, but it's all gone, and they didn't replace him with guys anywhere close to the level of the portal guys that were going out. So I think this has the potential to be a really challenging year for Kentucky, where they struggle to even get to 4 wins. And then who knows what the offseason holds. It would be costly to fire Stoops, and it would look bad to fire the most legendary coach in your program's history. But some tough decisions might need to be made if the season goes the way I think it will in Kentucky.
We'll hope that things go a little bit better at this program, and that's LSU. If I'm looking down the board at the teams that are most likely to win the SEC, I'm seeing Texas, I'm seeing Georgia, I'm seeing Alabama. LSU is 4th on that list, but you're high on LSU and you like them over 8.5 wins. That's minus 150, the best number over on DraftKings. Why do you think LSU is poised to win at least 9 games this year?
Yeah, LSU is ranked in the top 10, and they're one of the legitimate national title contenders. I can't imagine there have been many, if any, years where we've had a team that we could, with a straight face, say they're a national title contender and their win total is 8.5. Now, that makes it sound like a pretty obvious bet, right? They do have a tough schedule, though. They play Clemson in the season opener. Obviously, that's part of the reason why this number is low, because they could lose that game and still go on and win a national title, especially in the 12-team playoff era. That's certainly on the table. But I think they've got the potential to almost run the table. The schedule is too hard, I think, for any team in the SEC to run the table. But LSU has a type of talent where, if it weren't for the schedule, we would be talking about the team that has the talent to run the table and win a national title. That's just sort of, we're in a weird era of college football where some teams are basically playing NFL schedules where you can almost every week is a toss-up. But that's the type of legitimate talent that LSU has on both sides of the ball. Obviously, we have to start with talking about Garrett Nussmeier at quarterback. He's a potential top 10 pick, maybe even the potential number 1 overall pick in the NFL draft last year. They added a bunch of talent through the portal. Nick Anderson, a wide receiver from Oklahoma, Barry and Brown coming over from Kentucky, who I just mentioned. More than enough weapons for him to put together a great offense, which we've seen from LSU over the past few years with Nussmeier last year, with Jaden Daniels. Since Brian Kelly got there, their offense has been among the best in the SEC. The reason they haven't fully lived up to expectations under Ryan Kelly has been the defense. This year, they really went hard after defensive stars in the portal, especially in the secondary, because they have struggled defending downfield in years past. And I think they hit on some big portal additions. They got Tamarcus Cooley from NC State, Mansour Delane from Virginia Tech, AJ Halsey from Houston. All 3 of those guys should start some of the best secondary players to enter the portal this offseason. I think that secondary gets transformed. Harold Perkins is still there on defense. I think this becomes at least a better than average, if not a very good defense, which with the offense that Nussmeier will provide and those weapons that he has, you don't need an elite defense. You just need an above average to good defense to support that offense. I think if that defense comes together quickly, you could make a case that LSU is the favorite to win the SEC.
Do you think that there's any value in those odds? Right now, you can get them at plus 650, plus 700 is the best number out there over at DraftKings to take a flyer on LSU to win the SEC.
Yeah, absolutely. Not only because of the defense I just talked about, but look at the quarterback play relative to the other favorites. They have a legitimate top 10 pick quarterback coming back to the same offense. The other teams at the top, Texas, Alabama, Georgia, they're breaking in new quarterbacks. So any of those programs, when you're breaking in a new quarterback, it could go sideways. It doesn't always work out. You can have a huge 5-star recruit come in and it doesn't always pan out. We know what LSU has at quarterback. They will have a good offense. We know that for certain. We can't say that to the same degree with those other favorites. So yeah, LSU as a long shot bet is definitely a good place to spend your money if you're betting the SEC title picture.
Well, there you go. There's the SEC 3 best bets from Ryan McCrystal. We also have covered the Big 10, the Big 12, and the ACC in other videos. Make sure that you search our YouTube channel, Sharp Football Analysis, to find those videos. You're going to want to watch them, plus a video where we cover some other teams, including some long shots that Ryan likes. So make sure that you're subscribed. Make sure that you use code SHARP50 if you want to get 50% off our 2025 football preview book. 586 pages breaking down the entire NFL season. With that said, we'll see you guys very soon.